Hi, Felicia.
Hi,
How
how's
you
it
doing?
going?
Good to see you.
It's good to see you.
You look wonderful as usual.
As you do too. Let's dive in. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Jelani Alladin, and I'm an actor on Broadway. That's weird to say.
And you originated a role.
Yeah, I originated the role of Kristoff on Broadway, and yeah, I guess now I'm just kind of like chilling, just doing the actor thing.
Doing the actor thing in New York City.
Figuring out my life in New York City.
Yes.
That is so weird to say that I'm like actor on Broadway. Like all my life I've dreamed of that, and not just be like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, what is, do you think back to like baby Jelani?
Yeah.
What would he say?
He would not, I mean, he didn't understand what Broadway was at all. Like we went to see The Lion King as a kid, and like that was like a thing you did.
Yeah.
It was just like a rite of passage.
Right.
And then, yeah, and then all of a sudden acting became a thing in my life, and I don't know, he would be overjoyed.
Yeah.
He'd be overjoyed.
Was Lion King the first show you saw?
Yeah.
And then you originated like in a Disney show?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Good for you.
Yeah, you know, I'm doing all right.
Nailed it.
So what is your name and what do you do?
I'm Felicia Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
And I am the social media director for Playbill. And at night, by night, I host college.
Are you like Superwoman by night?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I like that.
Superwoman.
I'm gonna put that on my business cards. No, but Call and Response podcast, which you're familiar with.
Yes, I am.
Exploring the intersection between Blackness and performing arts.
I love that.
I love that too.
And we need more of that.
100%.
And I had such a great time talking with you. And here I am talking with you again.
I know.
Look at the universe
We're so
bringing us
good at
together. Are we?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I hope
This
so.
is
I hope
like
someone
fancy
thinks so.
couch. What was the experience like playing a role that was originally not created by a person of color?
Woo!
Let's get into it. Let's get
We're
into
just diving right into it.
Yes.
You know, I think it was an extreme challenge. There were some good times and there were some bad times.
Yeah.
I think when I first got the call that I was going to be playing Kristoff, I was overjoyed. I was just like crying for like 30 minutes with my best friend. It was on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then it hit me that like my job was not only to do my role and do it well, but to also represent all the people who have been waiting so long to see an interracial love like this in an original Broadway cast of a Disney musical.
And that's a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of pressure. And I, you know, there was some backlash. I got a kind of, in the beginning, I kind of got a lot of backlash. You know, people tweeting at me the N-word.
Right, yes. And you would post about it on Instagram,
I
remember.
did, yeah, I did. I posted, someone like trolled through my Instagram, and every photo that I posted relating to Frozen, they wrote some derogatory comment on it. And I think people weren't aware that that was happening. So the reason why I posted on Instagram was so that people could become aware of like, this is also the things that I deal with.
Yeah.
And this is still sadly where some of our fellow Americans hold ill beliefs.
Yeah.
And so for me, the better part of it all was when I got to take my bow every night or at the end of every show. Aww. And I would see sprinkled throughout the audiences little boys and girls of color, and they're just beaming. I remember there was one kid sitting in the front row towards like the end of my run there, and he was taking a bow. I was taking a bow. Well, he was also probably taking a bow in spirit.
Right.
I was taking my bow, and someone next to me is like tapping me, and I'm like, what? They're like, look down, look down, look down. Look down, the little kid's just like looking at me, pointing like this.
No, I'm gonna cry.
And like just like smiling and not able to say anything, not clapping, just like pointing at me and smiling. And that for me, I was like, yeah, this is why I did it.
No, it's huge.
It's huge.
And I feel like too, we've talked about this before, but like, the fact that you were Kristoff, like you were the leading man, looking so suave, instead of being like the villain, instead of being Hans, right? Like it was so huge that you were cast as that role, because it's not just about casting people of color in roles. It's about thinking, what does this present to the audience?
Yeah, totally.
And so he got to see himself as the hero.
And the hero, the lover, you know, he starts as this like rugged Iceman, and he becomes this like lovable like little teddy bear.
Yes.
Am I a teddy bear?
I mean, like, yeah, like a suave teddy bear. Like, you're just so, like, chic and cool. Like, this jacket, really?
Thanks.
I mean, yeah.
Thank you. Well, time for me to ask you a question.
Okay, I'm ready.
How did you gain a voice in the Broadway community?
Ooh, wow.
Let's hear it.
Not that type of voice. No, just one that talks a lot. I cannot sing, sadly, even though I do it in my shower a lot. You know, Playbill didn't have a social media manager before October 2015.
No way.
Yeah, I know. They had like writers and different people working there do it, but they didn't have anyone committed to like a cohesive voice.
Okay.
So here I come through and got to really like create a voice for Playbill. And when I first started, I was like, what would Felicia and her friends want to hear? So it was a lot of GIFs, it was a lot of emojis, but then people were quick to tell me like, that's not what Playbill means to me. And so I had to balance like what my voice was as a theater fan versus someone who has loved Broadway since and has been alive since like, 1970, whatever.
Right.
And because Playbill does mean different things to different people. And so I think I'd like to think that I've been like very authentic and have presented kind of a new, younger voice that also like respects the history.
I love that. I think there is a balance as I follow Playbill on Instagram a lot. And I do. And I noticed that like you're good at mixing in all things in the pot. You're not just sticking to the contemporary side of musical theater, or you're also giving plays their at a time. You're giving stars at a time. You're giving diversity and inclusion their time. And you're just like really good. Like I remember one day we were together. We watched, where did we go see together recently? Daddy.
Yes.
We saw Daddy together, and I just saw you just like work your magic on your phone, just like
that
making
handwriting
this thing
tool.
look. What is that? I need that. Can I get that?
I will teach you. I will teach you. But
really cool.
Thank you. That means a lot. I feel like trying to navigate that and just having such a big platform like Playbill has allowed me to do that.
Yeah. And everyone that I know in the Broadway community always like speaks highly of you and your energy, and they're just like, Felicia, I know what that is. And it's like it goes beyond Playbill too. It's like she's creating a voice in the world for people who have felt for so long that they had to be quiet.
Thank you. Yeah. I wanted you to give me like daily pep talks. I love this. Thank you.
I'm here when you need me.
All right, your turn. Here we go. Do you have any advice for someone who might feel excluded in the artistic world?
Yeah, I do. I think, sadly, sometimes we don't realize that we're actually needed. That we're not like, it's not like, a lot of the times actor is the lowest on the totem pole, right? Like there's like the executive producer, there's like general management, there's company management, there's directors, there's choreographers, there's everyone literally is on top of us. And sometimes we feel as though we're not needed, but we actually are. Wow. We're the ones who are the vessel through which the piece must live, which through art comes out of my mouth, out of my spirit, my body, my mind. It's from me. And a lot of times we go into these audition rooms and we feel like we're subject to someone else.
Right.
When it's like, no. They need you to do this part, to do this show. So come in there and be the solution to the problem.
Ooh.
Don't come in there and just be like, I'm here. No, allow yourself that confidence, that space to know that I am needed. I feel like a lot of the times I see my fellow actors or people who are studying to be actors just kind of like in this limbo space of like, I don't know if I'm good. I don't know if it's me. I don't know. If someone's bringing you into an audition, you are an option. And you need to claim the space of that.
Yes.
You need to be walking and be like, this is my option. Take it or leave it.
Right.
I always say this like weird quote that I don't know where the heck I got it from, but it's like, you can be the most beautiful, ripest peach, and someone still ain't gonna like peaches.
It's true.
And
They're wrong.
I don't like
but
peaches.
Some people don't. Oh, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't, but I love apples and oranges.
And pineapples, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my peach, and why are we talking about peach? That sounds so weird. But my peach...
I love it.
My peach is ripe and beautiful, and if you're not going to eat it, someone else will enjoy it.
Absolutely, it's true. I would imagine, like, as an actor, you can feel, like, disposable in that way.
Yeah, totally.
And yet, though, like, actors are, I feel like, the entrance for most people into performing arts because you're who they see on stage.
Right.
And that can create and inspire people to join the performing arts, and even if they find that they might fit better as like a producer or as a company manager or a dresser, like y'all
or social media manager.
Or social media manager. That's right. That it's important to have people who can claim that space as an actor. Yeah. So haters gonna hate, but
guys, you're needed. You are needed.
Yes,
no matter who you are, where you are, you're needed. Did you move to the city with different dreams and aspirations than you have now? How has navigating the two impacted you? Ooh, that's a good question.
That is. So I think it goes back to NYU, like the one that got away, right? I wanted to be a dancer with Alvin Ailey Dance Company. I had aspired to be a part of this company because I think it's where I felt like I could be accepted as an artist. But that's, doing that audition for NYU, I remember I was so upset because I was like, I just know that the city is speaking to my spirit. I love the energy here. And I just took a different route to get to New York City, you know what I mean? And I think social media in a way is its own form of storytelling, like dancing.
1000%.
So even though the original dream was dancing with Alvin Ailey, I feel like I'm so happy with this too because we need representation in all facets of the Broadway ecosystem, like we were saying. And doing like opening night red carpets or the Instagram lives for Playbill, like I wear my hair natural and I'm like, maybe there's a kid out there in Portland, Oregon or Brooklyn, New York for that matter, that might not come see Broadway shows all the time and be like, there is a place for me there. You know?
Yeah.
I still get to go see Alvin Ailey perform and it's amazing. Let's see. Have you experienced bias in the industry and how did you overcome it?
Bias. So I think when I was first auditioning for things out of school, I was unsure as to where I fit in the pieces of the puzzle. Okay. You have your your funny dude, you have your charming leading man, you have your ensemble dancer, and I was just like, I don't know where I fit. And I remember I was going to a lot of audition rooms and I'd be told the door would close. I'd be like, no, you're not this. No, you're not that. No, you're not funny enough. No, you're not exactly a leading man. No, you could dance, but like, oh, you could sing. Oh, yeah, but we don't want that kind of voice. There's so many weird things that art is subjective. And people are like, I want to hear something a certain way. I have a picture of it in my mind. And if you don't meet that, then somehow you're just not going to make it. And so I just remember hustling until I got my first gig, which was choir boy in DC.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling a feeling of like, oh, someone actually sees me in a way that that no one else has seen me before. And it's you gotta. I remember Bjork always says, "Eat nails."
Yes.
She says, "Eat nails."
Right.
It's hard. It's hard to walk into a room and open yourself up to people and kind of
be vulnerable
and be subject in a weird way to their interpretation of you.
Absolutely.
But that's just kind of the business of it, though. That's how it works until you become a writer, director, which we're all going to be because that's the future. But yeah, there's there are times where I've been told I'm not black enough. What does that even mean?
Right.
And you're right, I'm not black. I'm mixed with Indian in me. So yeah, what does that mean? I've been times I'm like, you sound too black. I'm like, okay, but someone in the other room just told me I wasn't black enough.
Right.
And so it's kind of like up to you to kind of set the bar of like, this is me. I'm not gonna have that person try to change me or change the way I sound or anything. I'm just gonna continue to stay me and trust that whatever's out there that's for me will find me.
But what do you do on the days where like those auditions happen and that wavers? Like that has to waver, right?
But I'm human. You gotta take your 5 minutes, eat your pizza, Domino's pizza with your best friends and cry for a second.
Okay, yes.
You need that.
That's self-care. That is self-care.
And it's also a reminder of how much you do care. Because if I didn't have those moments where I got so invested, so like I remember a Bronx Tale. I was auditioning for a Bronx Tale.
Okay.
For the brother role. Tyrone. And I got ill before the final callback, so I couldn't go to the final callback. And I was just so sad, so upset. And then Frozen came along, like just into my lap. Yeah. So you just never know, like, but you do gotta allow your time, the space, being like, that was sucky that would happen.
Yeah, feel your feelings.
Feel your feelings, but only for like a day.
Time limit.
I'll give you a day.
Because then you know that like the universe or like it's gonna your journey's gonna continue another way that it used to go.
And then you know that you care about it. If you don't care about it, then why are you doing it?
That's real. No, that's real though.
Yeah, you know.
Like the fear, or not the fear, that the disappointment comes in the caring about it. That's real.
Yeah. If you're not passionate about it, then you're not gonna be. You're gonna have to feel some sort of way. What is your main goal as someone working in the entertainment industry?
What is one of my main goals?
What is your main goal?
My main goal.
Boom.
Ooh. Okay, I'm thinking about this. I'm ruminating. I think I want people to feel included. And I know that sounds cheesy, but like social media can be used in very negative ways, and it can create a lot of division and all of that. But I think it, on its good days, can be such a good tool for connection, right?
Yes.
Growing up on the West Coast, my like classic anecdote is I would go home after school and I would perform Beauty and the Beast by myself because I didn't know anyone else in my high school that liked theater like I did, and I would have like my basket and my books, and I would be Belle like walking down her street or whatever. And we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Snapchat, we didn't have Twitter. We had YouTube. So I would watch these videos of Susan Egan and Terrence Mann, one love, and I was like, I want to be a part of that community so bad. Yeah. And so I don't want people to feel isolated. I want them to be like, oh, I have access to this world. I feel connected. I feel a part of this community, even if I live far away. And I think that inclusion also goes to people who think they don't have a seat at the table or that they don't have a voice at the table that they're sitting at. And because every story is valid, every voice is valid. And I think we're at a time now where we're starting to actually respect that and allow those voices to speak loudly, which is really exciting to me. There's been so many times with the podcast where I'm interviewing an artist and they're like, this is the first time anyone's asked me for my story. And I'm like, but it's so important to hear those different perspectives.
Right. Besides the glamorized, you know, Hollywood epic story, what are the specific... you talk about inclusion in a beautiful way, actually. It's about a kind of closeness. I think about like my Instagram thing that I started with the yurt.
Yes, exactly. That's
and I think about
example.
people I remember Renee Elise Goldsberry. When I had gotten frozen, she was also a teacher at NYU. So that's why I first met her. And I called her and I was like, hey, I had this, I'm doing this thing, I'm wanting your advice. But she said, make sure you use your social media as a way to connect with people and make them feel as if they're like in the theater with you.
Yes.
I think that's what because so many people out there around the country care and love this art form, but they feel sometimes as if I'm not living in New York City, am I actually there? And I think what the power that social media has is that like they can now tweet at Lin-Manuel Miranda. They can tweet at Jelani Alladin, at Felicia, they could at Playboy, and they could get a response immediately and feel a sort of though it is not necessarily like sitting next to someone, it is almost like being inside their house or being inside their heart almost.
Right.
I think those who use social media for the right power,
yes,
we are thankful to them for that.
Absolutely.
For that feeling of closeness and connection, and it's called the interweb, right? And so we're all kind of doing this. We're kind of winding together.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Oof. How would you describe your experience in one word? Yeah. Take a moment.
My experience in one word. There's a word that I became fascinated with, and I'm not sure if it's my experience, but it's a word that I kind of like live by in my art. Okay. It's called indelible. Do you know what that word means?
Yeah, I love that word. I use it all the time.
When something is indelible,
right?
It is 1,000% authentic to a person.
Okay.
It is undeniably theirs. It is, and I like to think that what I try to do with my work, with my experience, with friends, with anything that I do, I try to be indelible. I try to be 1000% authentically me and put my stamp on it.
Yes.
And I think, you know, with Frozen, that's what I tried to do. I tried to, you know, come in there with a part that, you know, let's be real, in the movie, you know, it was just, he was kind of just a device. He kind of just did things and like was there. And then I said, no, here's my chance to really bring that boy from Brooklyn, New York, bring that flavor to the piece, give Fixer Upper some like groove and stank, you know, bring the tenderness and the warmth and the heart that I care about. I Jelani Alladin, generally like wear my heart on my sleeve a lot, you know, so I was like, let me bring that to the character, just to make it indelible. When I look at other people's performances, when I look at the way that some people walk through the world, they are 1000% them. So yeah.
Yes, you are unapologetically you.
Thank
for
you.
sure. I feel that. And that radiates.
How would you describe your experience in one word? Come on.
I was like, haha, he gets that question. I'm so happy to get it. I guess I would say, like, truthful is what came to mind. I feel like personally, I've realized a lot of truths about myself and my identity while working in the industry. And I hope that I've done that for others that are like engaging with the work that I do.
Well, I think that's a beautiful word for you.
Thank you.
I think it's a beautiful word because without your truth, what are you?
You're not indelible, that's for sure.
Hey.
But it's true. And I think that theater is a space where we can come to tell our truths and to be ourselves and find solutions to problems that are already existing in our world and find a truth in it that can help us go out and change the world.
Yeah.